Today we are going to see thermoregulation in heart. The learning objectives are acclimatization, acclimation, adaptation, the normal body temperature and regulation of body temperature, understand how body detects and rises and falls in body temperature, understand what the body does to bring temperature back to normal levels, heat illness and management, precautionary measures. Now, coming to heart acclimatization. Before going into detail, we need to understand what is acclimatization. Acclimatization is the beneficial physiological adaptations that occur during repeated exposure to a hot environment. And what is acclimation? After understanding acclimatization, we need to understand acclimation. Acclimation is the coordinated phenotypic response developed by the animal to a specific stressor in the environment. So you can ask me, what is phenotypic? Phenotypic means it is a physical responses. So the physical response developed by the animal to a specific stressor in the environment. While acclimatization refers to the coordinated response to several individual stressors simultaneously. For example, temperature, humidity. Now, what is the main difference between adaptation and acclimatization? Adaptation is a change in both physical and chemical composition of an organism brought about by habitat changes, while acclimation is a physical reaction made in order to adjust to said changes. Then coming to adaptation, adaptation is a permanent, while acclimation is a temporary. Acclimatization to heat. It requires exercise in hot environment. Adaptations occur within 7 to 14 days. So the adaptational changes are increased plasma volume, earlier onset of sweating, higher sweat rate, reduced sodium chloride loss in sweat, reduced skin blood flow, increased cellular heat shock proteins, and acclimatization lost within a few days of inactivity. Acclimatization to heat exposure. Improved metabolic efficiency, that is, increased aerobic metabolism, decreased heat wasted in making ATP. Sweating promoted to lower core temperature. Rate of sweating increases from 1.5 to 3 liters per hour. And when stroke volume increases, cardiac output increases, so the heart rate decreases. The aldosterone secretion increases, that is, sodium in sweat decreases from 30 to 5 MEQ per liter. Then potassium retention. These are all called acclimatization to heat exposure. Now coming to the heat equation. The heat temperature along with high humidity and when we do physical work, that leads to heat illness. So when the body is unable to cool itself through sweating, serious heat illnesses may occur. The most severe heat-induced illnesses are heat exhaustion and heat stroke. If it is untreated, heat exhaustion could progress to heat stroke and possible death occur. So look at the picture. There are three stages, namely the yellow protects less hazardous, and this one pink is caution, and the red zone is more than 100 degree Fahrenheit, and where the danger thing happens, where heat stroke occurs. Now, heat training. In the heat training, there are two kinds of training. The acclimatization, heat acclimatization takes place both in natural environment and artificial environment. So the natural environment is an outdoor activity, the field training, and the artificial environment is an indoor activity or laboratory training. Where in the heat acclimatization in outdoor activity, we have self-paced exercises, for example, football, volleyball, kabaddi, and so on and so forth of the games. And constant work rate exercises, for example, the cycle ergometer or marching, and where the 60% of VO2 max and or 6 kilometers per hour, it is a constant work rate exercise. And coming to passive heating, it is always done in post-exercise temperature maintenance, where the after activity, water immersion or sauna bathing can take place, where we can bring the heat the reduced heat can be taken place. Now the controlled hypothermia, where the passive and active heating will be taking place, and in controlled intensity, you can we can take that 40%, 50%, or 60% intensity as a controlled one, where the heart rate goes beats per minute. Now these are all the heat illnesses, the factors which are making heat illnesses are high temperature and humidity, direct sun exposure, indoor radiant heat sources, limited air movement, not enough fluids, physical exertion, clothing, physical condition and health problems, medications, pregnancy, lack of recent exposures, advanced stage, and previous heat related illnesses. So these are all the factors which are creating the heat related illness. And now coming to the previous slide, I have shown you the natural environment and artificial environment, where self-paced exercises, constant work rate, and intensity is the same controlled intensity, and hypothermia is controlled, and passive heating can be taken place through various activities which are mentioned in this slide. And this is a study which has been proved that when we train in cool condition, and after training, we can take bath in the hot water, thereby the performance is better in heat. During the heat, the performance will be better. Especially the 5 kilometers running performance is improved. 60 days of reduced both resting and exercise body temperature, thereby when one train in cool condition, let us say 18 degrees Celsius, when we train and take bath in 40 degrees Celsius, so that 4.9% of performance is increased. Look at this picture. You can very well understand where it is in the heat induced acclimation is lower core temperature, earlier sweating, and lower perceived exertions are taking place, so that the performance is higher. Now, when we talk about the changes in skin blood flow, where when we do exercises in hot climate, the blood flow to the periphery increases. So, comprising the initial physiological response to increased or decreased ambient temperature, are regulated by sympathetic vasodilation and vasoconstriction mechanism. An increase in core temperature causes the release of vasoconstrictor tone, resulting in increased blood flow. Now the heat stress. So coming to the heat illnesses, the first one is heat stress. Heat stress is an illness that can be caused by exposure to extreme heat. It occurs when the body is unable to maintain a healthy temperature in response to a hot environment. So what is heat stress? It's an occupational heat stress is the net load to which a worker is exposed from the combined contributions of metabolic heat, environmental factors, and clothing worn, which results in an increase in heat storage in the body. Now coming to the sign and symptoms of mild or moderate heat stress and severe heat stress. For the mild and moderate heat stress, it will be a sweaty palms, poor vision, sharp muscle cramps, feeling dizzy or lighted head, and fainting, and more work errors, loss of concentration. Now coming to the severe heat stress, loss of consciousness, heavy sweating, weakness, visual disturbances, intense thirst, nausea or vomiting, headache, diarrhea, breathlessness, palpitation, tingling and numbness of extremities. Now coming to the contributing factors of heat stress. So always a risk factor for heat stress is for or heat related illness is dehydration. So the dehydration occurs when we use or lose more fluid than we take in, and our body doesn't have enough water and other fluids to carry out its normal functions. If we don't replace lost fluids, we will get dehydrated. When it's hot and humid, our risk of dehydration and heat illness increases. That's because when the air is humid, sweat cannot evaporate and cool as quickly as it normally does. And this can lead to an increased body temperature and the need for more fluids. We can usually reverse mild to moderate dehydration by drinking more fluids, but severe dehydration needs immediate medical treatment. Thirst is not always a reliable early indicator of the body's need for water. Many people, particularly elder adults, don't feel thirsty until they are already dehydrated. That's why it's important to increase water intake during hot weather or when we are ill. Now, coming to the symptoms of dehydration, extreme thirst, less frequent urination, dark colored urine, fatigue, dizziness, confusion, loss of appetite, dry skin, dry mouth, weakness, chills, and head rushes. Now, coming to heat exhaustion is a condition where symptoms may include heavy sweating and a rapid pulse, a result of our body overheating. It's one of three heat related syndromes, with heat cramps being the mildest and heat stroke being the most severe. Now, coming to symptoms of heat exhaustion: heavy sweating, cold, pale, and clammy skin, fast, weak pulse, nausea or vomiting, muscle cramps, tiredness or weakness, dizziness, and headache. Now, we how long we can get rid of this heat exhaustion? After getting the symptoms of heat exhaustion, typically it lasts for 30 minutes or less when treated promptly. Complete recovery may take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. To shorten the duration of heat exhaustion, drink plenty of fluids and seek out a cool place to rest and recover. So, what are the first signs of heat exhaustion? As I told you earlier, heavy sweating, cold, pale, and clammy skin, fast, weak pulse, nausea and vomiting, muscle cramps, tiredness or weakness, dizziness, and headache. Now, how to manage the heat stroke and heat exhaustion? Here is the algorithm for management of heat stroke and heat exhaustion. When the patient has significant CNS involvement, that is confusion, irritability, and seizures and ataxia. When these things are there, and automatically it is heat stroke. If it is not there, if the confusion, irritability, seizures, and ataxia is not there, and we can say it is heat exhaustion. So, how to manage this heat exhaustion and heat stroke? When the heat exhaustion is there, immediately we need to remove the patient from heat and hydrate more and monitor for resolutions. That is, did symptoms resolve with 20 to 30 minutes? Means we need to provide the patient education regarding prevention of heat related illness and activate heat stroke algorithm. This is regarding the immediate management for heat exhaustion. Now, coming to the immediate management of heat stroke, you remove the patient from heat and address ABCs and begin cooling if feasible. Then management in a medical facility where continue cooling to core temperature of 38 degree to 39 degrees Celsius that is 101 to 102.2 degree Fahrenheit, then hydrate orally or through IV. And laboratory tests to rule out their entities, we need to do it, and monitor renal function and manage hypotension and seizures. Now, coming to the heat cramps are all painful, involuntary muscle spasm that usually occur during heavy exercise in hot environments. The spasms may be more intense and more prolonged than our typical nighttime leg cramps. Fluid and electrolyte loss often contribute to heat cramps. Now, what causes these heat cramps? Heat cramps are painful muscle spasm, and because of dehydration and loss of nutrients from excessive sweating. They are associated with heavy perspiration. Heat cramps are most common in the abdomen, back, arms, or legs. What is heat stroke? Heat stroke is a condition caused by a body overheating, usually as a result of prolonged exposure to or physical exertion in high temperatures. This is most serious form of heat injury. Heat stroke can occur if our body temperature rises to 104 degree Fahrenheit, that is 40 degrees Celsius or higher. The condition is most common in the summer months. See, these are all the four heat stress injuries: heat rash, heat cramps, heat exhaustion, heat stroke. So heat rash contains red raised rash, impairs sweating and decrease effectiveness of sweating. Heat cramps or muscle cramps, pain or spasm in the abdomen, arm or leg. And heat exhaustion are mostly clammy skin, dilated pupils, normal or subnormal temperatures, dizziness, confusion or nausea, weak pulse, rapid breathing. Heat stroke is dry, red, hot skin, pupils constricted, very high body temperature, dizziness, confusion or nausea, pulse rapid, unconsciousness, and coma and death. Now, what are the precautionary measures we need to take? During the hot weather, we need to have precautions to reduce the risk of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Stay indoors and in air-conditioned environment as much as possible unless we are sure our body has a high tolerance for heat. Drink plenty of fluids, but avoid beverages that contain alcohol, caffeine, or a lot of sugar. Now, precautions to be taken to avoid heat illness: wear loose fitting, lightweight clothing, protect against sunburn, drink plenty of fluids, take extra precautions with certain medications, never leave anyone in a parked car, take it easy during the hottest parts of the day, get acclimated, and be cautious if you are at increased risk. And what safety consideration can be taken to prevent heat stress injuries? So drink plenty of water or other cool non-alcoholic fluids. Even if we are not thirsty, we need to check with the doctor if we are the limited fluids or fluid pills, and avoid drinking extremely cold liquids as they can cause stomach cramps. Plan ahead, reduce activity, avoid exercise in hot weather. And to avoid heat-related illnesses, wear lightweight, light-colored clothing made of breathable material like cotton, and stay hydrated by drinking water throughout the day. Avoid strenuous outdoor activity on hot days. If we are outside, take frequent breaks in a cool place. Then, how athletes prevent heat injuries? Always pre-hydrate before taking part in the training or competition. Pre-hydration is important. Begin hydrating several hours before practicing or performing any sports outdoors, and continue to hydrate during the activity. Wear sunscreen. Wear whatever the activities we are taking part under the sun, we can wear the sunscreen and consider the clock, get acclimated, wear light colored clothing, manage medications, and protecting our body from the heat or how to prevent overheating. Use proper gear for warm weather running, protect our head and eyes, protect our skin with waterproof sunscreen, regularly moisten our clothing, head, arms, and legs. Running in warm weather, a special kind of protection for a special kind of pleasure. Thank you.